Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Charlie Napolitano, Chief Operating Officer at B2i Digital, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the virtual panel discussion on one of the most timely and complex topics in the capital market space, the legal and regulatory considerations surrounding the de-SPAC process. This panel reflects B2i Digital's ongoing commitment to supporting the U.S. capital markets and the forward-thinking professionals who drive the industry. Whether you're navigating shareholder redemptions, preparing regulatory filings, or managing proxy communications, the path from LOI to close is anything but straightforward. Today's conversation will offer valuable perspectives from legal, strategic, and operational experts who work in the trenches every day. We're excited to be joined by an outstanding panel of experts who will be attending and participating in the upcoming SPAC conference hosted by Dealful Events on June 17th and 18th at the Westchester Country Club. Our panelists today include Desiree Carlo from Laurel Hill, who will be joining a panel at the SPAC conference discussing just this, the de-SPAC process. Christopher Murillo from Harter, Secrest, and Emery, who's a veteran speaker at the SPAC conference, but this year's choosing to share the spotlight, and he'll just be attending as an attendee. But I'm sure he'll be happy to chit-chat about anything SPACs. Artie Gandhi from the Nuvo Group, who's sponsoring the SPAC conference by providing cigars, and of course, her extensive experience in the printing space. I'm excited to participate today as the moderator, and together we're all going to share insights and best practices of everything from SEC filings and exchange listings to D&O insurance and liquidation scenarios. Before we get into the questions, I'd like to start by giving everybody a chance just to introduce yourselves and your company, and happy to start with Chris.
Great. Thanks, Charlie. Really excited to be here with everyone. Really looking forward to the SPAC conference. This is something I look forward to every year. Look forward to being there with my partner Maggie as well. I did my first SPAC in 2005 as a baby lawyer and have been doing them on and off since. This is an area of law that's really interesting to me, highly technical, highly complex, and I think it provides a really interesting alternative to the IPO process. So I'm really excited about the opportunity.
Thank you, Chris. Artie?
Thank you so much for the introduction, Charlie. I am Artie Gandhi again, and I head up the IXBRL department at the Nuvo Group. My responsibilities include helping public companies or the companies that are looking to go public through SPAC or IPO process, help them guide them through the process, and help them SEC compliant. I'm looking forward to attending the SPAC conference. I think it's a great platform to bring companies under one roof and be able to talk to them and understand what their goals are, what they're looking for, and if I can help in any way and provide them with my expertise and talk to them, help them guide through the process, I'm always happy to do that.
Awesome. Thank you, Artie. Desiree?
Hi. Thank you for having me here and for putting this together. This is very nice to be a part of. And so I work here at Laurel Hill. I head the SPAC proxy campaign department, and my team will be with me at the SPAC conference, and I'm looking forward to going to that as well.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, all right. Well, thanks for introducing yourselves, everybody. So let's dive into the first question. We have a fun one. There's a terrible rumor going around that SPACs are dead. So let's start with that. What do you guys think? Are SPACs dead, Chris?
I think the rumors that SPACs are dead are grossly overstated. It's true. If you look back at the number of SPACs that were doing IPOs or out seeking target companies, over the past, call it 5 years, you're going to see a big bubble happening around 2021, 2022, and then tapering off again. It's a bubble, right? This is a financial product that got really hot during the pandemic. There was a lot of money that was flowing into this and other vehicles, and everyone and their mom was sponsoring a SPAC. And the consequence of that was you ended up having a lot of SPACs chasing after basically the same number of target companies.
Yeah.
I think if you look at the charts now, you'll see that the number of SPACs that are doing IPOs, the number of SPACs that are out actively seeking has normalized kind of to what that pre-bubble level was. As a result, I think we're back in a healthier place for this product. And I think it really goes back to being a good opportunity for people looking to go public, get on a public platform to be able to grow their business. And some of the kind of noise around this product has been kind of set aside, and now we're really ready to launch into the next phase, the next evolution, the next growth phase of this product, and I'm really excited to be a part of it.
Fantastic. And what about this year? Have you seen a growth in volume year over year from last year? I guess what's just like from the deals and stuff coming in, what have you been seeing?
Yeah, so I mean, again, I think we're still coming kind of tapering off that big high from the years past. Volume, if you listen to the naysayers, you might say, well, there's nobody doing any SPACs. Well, there's definitely been SPACs. I haven't checked recently. I'll obviously need to check right before, but there's been several dozen SPACs that have gone public, and there's SPACs announcing deals, which is again going back to the volume of SPAC activity that we were seeing when it was kind of more of a normal clip. And so I think, again, the trend is normalizing. Deals are getting done, IPOs both, and de-SPACs. And we're getting to a place where this goes back to being a good opportunity for people to go public. For me, the fundamental thing that is attractive about a SPAC from the perspective of a target company is, your price certainty, of course, and your ability to get a deal done when the IPO window is closed. And, right now the IPO window is opening and closing and shutting, and there's a lot of volatility going on in the market, and it's difficult to know how to proceed and have any kind of deal certainty. And that's where the SPAC shines, because you're able to have some deal certainty, and you're able to get onto a public company platform, and then continue your growth strategy from there.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you for that. Does anybody else want to add to that, or we can go to the next question?
No.
No, all good. Yeah, so Desiree, obviously we're talking about the de-SPAC process. So what would you say is the most important factor when leading into the extension and business combination of meetings, and why do you think so?
I would say there's definitely a few factors that are very important as you're leading into the extension campaign and getting as you're coming up to the business combination campaign, and that would be shareholder engagement, staying in contact with your shareholders through press releases. If you can send out information through Broadridge so that you can make sure it's touching the NOBO and the OBO holders. But besides, because SPACs are going to, the business combination, the extension meetings both need a supermajority in order for them to pass. So if the extensions don't get passed, the charters don't get extended, and they can be forced to liquidate. And the same with the business combination, when everything's riding on it. And if the shareholders vote against it, or you don't get that supermajority, then it could just have to liquidate, and it could be all for nothing. But besides the shareholder engagement, I would say working with a solid team of the attorney, the printing agent that you're working with, the investment banker, and the proxy solicitor. You want to make sure that they are solid and dependable, and everyone knows their role and their responsibility, so that nothing is missed along the way.
Excellent. And all right, so speaking about like just collaborating, with others, we have Artie here, who's works for a printer agent, and what we'd like to know is how does the tagging change for existing SPAC IPOs and de-SPAC transactions? How does that play into the timeline that she was just talking about?
Thank you very much, Charlie, for the question. So the SEC will now require the tagging for certain disclosures and SEC filings that are related to SPAC IPOs and de-SPAC registration statements. And that's coming up. That's starting June 30, 2025. And one thing I would like to add is that previously every corporate IPO was exempt from tagging. So this would be the first time the SEC will require IXBRL tagging for an IPO. And this signals that SEC may require the tagging of more IPO prospectus items in the near future. And I think the SEC's goal here is to enhance disclosures and provide additional investor protections in SPAC and SPAC IPO and de-SPAC transactions. So every registration statement in the SPAC process will require IXBRL tagging, except for any S4 or F4 filed by a private target.
Excellent. So I would assume that having more time to work on these things, the better. Desiree, how early would you say the proxy process should begin to avoid like delays with printer and other things as well?
Usually there's a lot that we have to do in a very condensed period of time. So, well, for example, the regular proxy voting campaign, like for annual meetings, maybe a 2 to 3 month timeline, and we're getting them done for the SPACs within 3 to 4 weeks. So I would definitely reach out to the proxy solicitor at least 4 weeks early. It helps save the SPAC money because then they don't have to pay brokerage extra accelerated fees, and they don't have to pay for the same accelerated mailing and UPS and all of that. So anything over 4 weeks is definitely always appreciated, but we can get it done in 3 weeks.
Wow. All right. Impressive and very helpful. All right, Chris, on to you. I know you've got a little bit of a cold today, but that doesn't mean we're going to go easy on you. Okay.
Fair enough.
What are some of the lessons learned from the SPAC bubble that we saw in 21 to 23 from the perspective of companies considering going public via de-SPAC?
Yeah. So some of the things that I took away from that are the importance of, I'm coming at this from the perspective of a target company. So if you're a target company, I think it's really important to vet the management team. You are very much getting into a team with that management team, and you're going to have to work hand in glove in very stressful situations. Having a team, a sponsor team that is seasoned and has done this before is a huge plus. They know where the pitfalls and the roadblocks are and are able to anticipate that. That's also true of making sure you have advisors who are experienced and know what they're doing. Those advisors can help you out, but that people kind of figure out that they need advisors that know what they're talking about. But vetting your SPAC sponsor team, your business partners in this is also really important. Understanding the difference between a SPAC and an IPO, right? There's a lot of things that are the same, but as already pointed out, the tagging is a difference. The S4 process versus an S1 process, the need for a shareholder vote, oftentimes, the need sometimes to extend. Those are things that are really important for target companies to understand in advance, and kind of lessons learned from that bubble. Other things that I would think about is, if you watch The Bear, Chef Carmy says every second counts. To Desiree's point, every second counts when you're working on a SPAC. Having a sense of urgency, making sure that your service providers and your partners all have that sense of urgency is key, because yes, you start talking to a SPAC about maybe doing a transaction with them, and you have 6 to 9 months, and you're like, wow, that's a lot of time. The truth of the matter is, when you lay everything out, and you need 4 weeks for Desiree, and then you back to that, and you need to negotiate your definitive agreement, and before that you need to have your disclosure and your financial statements ready to go. that timeline stretches out real fast, and every second counts. And having a team that's committed to making every second count from the very beginning will really make it a much easier and smoother process when you start getting to those last few weeks of time left in the SPAC.
Fantastic. And then, you know, follow-up question from that would be, you know, when you're working with like a team of people, what do you, how do you decide who you want to work with? You're working on a de-SPAC, you want to bring somebody into the deal, another service provider. What are some of the things that you're looking for? What makes for a good team?
Yeah, I think I look for members of that team are the same things I look for in members of my team at Harter Secrest, right?
Mhm.
I need people who are professional, who answer the phone late at night, are willing to do that. I need people who are willing to make sacrifices. But I also need people who are kind and that I get along with and are collaborative. Those things are really important because this is a high stress, high intensity, high stakes situation, and having people that you can trust, having people that you know got your back, having people that you know are going to step up when it counts is really, really important. And you know, Artie, Desiree, those are the kind of people that I want to build on my team. And again, going back to the idea of picking your SPAC sponsor group, those are the people who are going to be in the trenches next to you on, you know, late at night, turning disclosure documents and doing things like that. You want to make sure you have a good rapport, that those are the kind of people that you really want to make an investment with, because you are going to be knee deep in some hard work for months and months, and it's really, really important that everybody's kind of on the same page and pulling in the same direction.
Absolutely. I don't think there's any strangers on this call about burning the midnight oil. So,
Sure.
absolutely. All right. So, Artie, just going back to what you were, and thank you for that, Chris. I appreciate that. But Artie, back to what you were talking about before. Can you elaborate a little bit on the SEC's mandate regarding IXBRL tagging for SPAC IPOs and de-SPAC transactions?
Yeah, so we've heard about the new mandate, but I would say the existing SPAC and IPOs or de-SPAC transactions, they would not have to worry about this at this point because the financial tagging requirements for existing SPACs, they're not changing. Any existing SPACs or financial tagging will begin with their initial 10Q after the IPO. And the SEC also provides a 30-day grace period for the first 10Q. So companies can choose to just file their EDGAR document, and then they have the 30 days grace period to submit their interactive data with a Form 10QA. So that's very helpful to a lot of companies. And the financial statements for SPAC are required to be tagged after business combination and any secondary registration statement. So any new IPO deals starting after June 30, 2025, they would have to follow the new mandate, but any existing IPO, there's not too much changing for them at this point.
And so Desiree, so you've been working on de-SPACs a long time. My question would be, you know, what are some of the biggest hurdles you've encountered with a SPAC is applying for an exchange listing?
Uh, I would definitely say reaching the minimum number of round lot holders. SPACs are, because that redemption feature is inherent in all SPACs, we are finding that more and more shareholders redeem, especially when you get to the business combination part. So the SPAC has to anticipate many of the shareholders, the current shareholders redeeming, and still have to make sure that they cover or have enough round lot holders to still meet the minimum listings. So it is quite a hurdle for them.
All right. Fantastic. I appreciate that. And then, so Chris, what are some of the hard lessons that you've encountered from SPACs over the years?
Yeah, well, Desiree hit it on the head. You know, I think you have to assume that the investor base in the SPAC vehicle will all redeem out, and just take it that anybody who stays in is gravy. And you know, we've done all kinds of deals where we end up trying to incentivize people to stay, and that can be very expensive. But I think from a target company perspective, just assume that the shareholder base from the SPAC is going to redeem out, and so that means two things. It means the Desiree's point, which is the round lot holders won't be there, and two, it means that the trust funds won't necessarily be there. So if you're a company that's considering doing a de-SPAC transaction, see how close you can get to achieving the listing standards on your own. That's really important. And don't assume that there's going to be kind of a pot of gold in that trust fund at the end of the day. You just assume it's going to be gone. The analogy that I like to make is, you know, the reason you do a SPAC is because you want to do a transaction whether or not the IPO window is closed. And if you end up closing your de-SPAC transaction when the IPO window is closed and investors are kind of not in the market, everybody's going to redeem out. And you're only really ever going to have significant people stay into the deal if you're kind of in that IPO window open scenario. And getting those two things to align is very unlikely. So I just assume you're not going to have that. The other thing with respect to putting together the proxy and the S4 that I like to tell people is keep a deal diary starting on day -90. Before you even make a decision to complete a de-SPAC transaction, keep a deal diary. One of the most excruciating things that we have to do in those disclosure documents is disclose every step of the deal, who talked to whom, when, who met with whom, when. And if you can always put that together in hindsight, and but that is a much more difficult process than keeping a deal diary, and keep a deal diary before you decided to move forward, because you know it's possible that you will have had a conversation with someone that, you know, 3 months later kind of leads you down the path to doing a transaction. So keep a deal diary if this is an area that you think you're gonna go down, and you know, at the very least you have a kind of a cool thing to write your memoir from.
Excellent. And then and Artie, I don't know if you want to you know,
Yeah.
go for it.
Yeah, and the reason I wanted Chris and Desiree to just talk about the whole process is because SEC filing process, I at least feel like it's towards the end of the process, and that's pretty much the last step before the companies are submitting their filings to the SEC. And I just want to add that although some clients and legal counsels or accounting firms, they may have gone through the SEC filings process for an IPO, but now with the new mandate, I would say companies will need to build extra time into their filing processes and to review and sign off on the XBRL tags. And by catching errors in the IXBRL tagging process, if there are any, companies can also avoid potential filing suspensions or penalties from the SEC, which could delay the IPO process. And I think what Desiree had mentioned about open communication and collaboration, I think that's very important to avoid delays. Open communication and proactive planning with financial printers are crucial to minimize last-minute changes and ensure timely delivery of their compliant filings. I personally, my team and I, we personally like to schedule calls with the companies and try to get a sense of timings when their internal meetings are, and when their drafts are going to be completed. And it's important to have that channel open with not just the companies directly, because, Chris, your team is working on the draft, so it's always nice to, be able to pick up the phone and, call and ask, hey, where are we with the drafts or changes? So it's nice to have that. And I've been fortunate enough to be working with companies that are open to, discussing their when their audit committee meetings are, or when important important meetings are happening within the firm. It just helps. And a couple of days before their target filing date, I like to make sure that everybody's on the same page in terms of timings. So definitely open communication is the key here.
Yeah. I'll add one more thing if I
Yeah.
may. You know, one of the buzzwords around this kind of transaction is IPO ready.
Yeah.
And we don't have the benefit of having kind of an auditor colleague on this call, but it's very, very important that your accounting team, your
Yes.
financial reporting team is up to snuff. You will not be inheriting the financial reporting capabilities of the SPAC team. They're going to be the target company is going to be the company is going to be responsible for financial reporting through the transaction and then following the transaction. So get yourself a good CFO, get them a good team, make sure they're up to snuff and that they are
Absolutely.
locked in with their auditing colleagues. Do not plan to change your auditor in anywhere near your de-SPAC transaction. That is a recipe for restatements and all kinds of problems. So make sure that you have a good accounting team and a good auditing partner that's going to carry you through the transaction and hopefully for a few years afterwards so that you are locked in on your financial reporting.
Absolutely.
Makes sense. And we've talked a lot about, communication, and then, we could just, dive into that a little bit more, to close things off. Desiree, I know as the proxy solicitor, you're constantly putting together timelines and programs, and you have to work with everybody and so quickly. So if you want to just close with how important that communication is and how you decide to work with people, that would be great.
It's vital that everyone's in communication. We keep everyone copied so that the attorneys and the clients, the materials are going to show up at Broadridge. And it may take a day or two of me checking up to make sure, see have they been delivered yet, and that is vital time when it's crunch time, and so much needs to be done at that point within about a week. So like I said, it is just vital.
All right, fantastic. Well, look, I really appreciate everybody, taking the time today to come on and to share with us just more about the de-SPAC process, what you guys have learned. And I think everyone's going to be really excited to hear from you guys and see you guys at the SPAC conference again coming up June 17th and 18th at the Westchester Country Club. If anybody watching this video is interested in learning more from Desiree, Chris, or Artie, we're going to have their contact information up at the end of this video. Of course, you're welcome to comment below in the comment section, or you can reach out to us at B2i Digital, and I'll be happy to share all the information from our experts here. So thank you so much, everybody, and this has been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.